I will go to the Olympics. I will not be satisfied with myself if I do not. Winning the Olympics to me right now is a spit in the face to everyone who turned me down because I was a wrestler or different. To every teacher who assumed I was a slut for doing it, or that I did drugs to keep my weight down. To all the people that think it is wrong, or that I will get distracted to follow through. They are all wrong. I have never wanted something so much as I want an Olympic gold. I have never sacrificed so much effort, time, and tears for something I love this much. I love wrestling more than anything. It has its challenges and its hard times, but it never doubts me. And right now, that's all I need to know. I started journaling probably when I was like 11, 12. Obviously, you can tell I'm a very emotional, sensitive person. So when you journal, not just the event, but your feelings towards the event, it's like it helps you to process it better. I'm gonna lose all street cred as a wrestler if this gets posted. The only thing that scares me is after you accomplish a gold, then what? Question mark. When I get a gold, I'll let you know. Now I gotta get my Z's to scrunch my hair tomorrow, so good night. Yeah, that's funny. I thought I didn't have confidence, but I guess 13-year-old confidence is like immature, but at least I was writing I was gonna get a gold medal then. Bye, Charlie. Oh wow, it's a lot warmer than I thought. Backed up into quite a few cars here before, so I'm not the most trusted one. So right now we are going to my old high school, Magruder High School, and it's actually also the wrestling room where my first ever practice was. I feel like my parents forget that I moved away when I was 16, and they'll just tell me to go drive somewhere to like, oh, go here, pick this up, you know, help run this errand. I'm like, okay, but I need the address, I need to put it in Google Maps. And they're like, what do you mean you don't know where Rockville Pike is? I'm like, Mom, I moved away when I was 16. I just started driving, and so I don't know all the roads. It's not... Oh, that's Tony, that's my brother. I was like, I know I'm not driving that bad. I was born in Rockville, Maryland in 1991. I grew up in Rockville, and I lived here since I was 16 years old. I have, you know, my mom and my dad, and I have two brothers, an older brother and a younger brother. My parents, the one thing they just wanted us to have a lot of opportunities and to be exposed to a lot of different sports. So I did ballet when I was 3. I did, you know, tap and jazz and gymnastics. I remember my mom thought, well, let's try diving. And I made it to the top of the diving board, and I looked down. That's when I discovered I had a fear of heights. Pretty much every sport I ever joined, the instructors would ask my mom not to bring me back. I just remember being really shy anytime parents came in to watch, or anytime someone was watching me. I would just look to the floor and just shut down, like just stopped moving. I would just cry. But my mom had like a rule that whatever you tried, you had to see it through for the whole season. You weren't allowed to quit anything. So my older brother joins wrestling, he does it for a year, and then my younger brother, Tony, he wants to join the following year. And we didn't have a babysitter or anything, so my mom would just bring me to the practice. My little brother joins, and there aren't enough kids, and so everyone breaks off into partners, and he doesn't have one, and it just kept happening. And so I think she just thought, well, Helen's already here, and so she called me over, and I remember she said, you know, Helen, kick off your shoes, just jump in there, like, go be Tony's dummy, like, just go do whatever the coach says.
There you go, Tom, there you go, hold him there.
Everyone thought I was just there for my brother, so no one was really trying to even teach me anything. It wasn't about me, it was about my brother. And after about 2 weeks of wrestling, I went to my dad and I said, hey, this isn't fair, you know, I'm doing all this hard work, I'm doing everything that the boys are doing, but they get to compete and I don't, you know, I don't want to work hard for nothing. Obviously with my track record of sports, my parents knew, okay, this girl's definitely, like, she couldn't even do ballet on parent visitation day, like, she's not gonna step on a mat. So my dad's like, okay, I'll let you wrestle one match, and if you win that match, I'll let you continue. I wrestled one match, and my first match, that was the only match I won all year. I was 1-30 that year, and I got to continue wrestling.
There you go, there you go, go! Half, half, half! Go, go, go! Go, Helen, go!
I think it was so challenging and so engaging. I mean, it's like your whole body just constantly in all these different moves, and then it's moves and counter moves, and it's strategic, and so there's so many different elements, and then it's also this mental toughness and this grind, and you have to push through it, and so but you have to be smart. And I think obviously when you're 7 you don't realize all those things, but just what wrestling demands from you was so engaging, and it was fun, and I think it kind of helped me to just be out of my own mind, because the present challenge was, you know, took all of my energy.
Helen! Nobody can make a mistake in Helen, I'll tell you.
When I started wrestling, I think that was the year that I had the least amount of resistance. It was just total support.
Hey, Helen! Woo!
When you're a beginner in your little league, and it's kind of like, well, all the other guys on the team are beginners too, so no one has any expectations, no one has any ego, because we're all in this same position that we all don't really know what we're doing. I don't know, it's just like, I just loved wrestling. When it changed for me from, you know, being accepted on the team to all of a sudden people were not a fan of, you know, a girl wrestling was when I started getting good. Every match, it didn't matter who I was wrestling, like people would just flock around the mat, because it was like I was a spectacle, like, oh, let's see how the girl does. It went from, oh, you're doing so well for a girl, you're working so hard, it's just so great to see you try out there and just keep it up, to parents yelling like, you know, kick that girl's ass or get that dyke off the mat. Of course that didn't feel good. You know, it's like when something's taboo, you're just really afraid of it, and you're obviously not going to be in support of it. My second year I went up to the Beltway League, and my mom introduced herself to the coach, you know, hey, I have a daughter, she wrestles, and he just was not having it. I think I was there for 2 to 3 weeks, and they just wanted me to quit. I never got a single technical remark. I never got any help. I never had anyone say, oh no, you gotta finish it this way, or oh, you keep getting pinned or armbarred or this or that or thrown, and you know, maybe try this. I mean, it was nothing. I got zero attention paid to me. If a guy has a bad practice or a bad day or slacks off, it's like, you know, hey, get it together. If I do it, it's like, this is why you shouldn't be wrestling. This is why girls don't wrestle. Which way is it? It's down this way. To the left.
Yes.
Okay. Gosh. That's the cafeteria. I remember extreme dieting there. That's crazy. Many stairs that we've had to run. This is my first ever wrestling room, and this is my high school room. The parents would sit around here. There weren't like that many kids, and then the coach, Kristen, Bob Kristen, would run like the little kids club right here. One day my mom was like, Helen, kick your shoes off, just run in there. And we'd like line up against the wall, and you had to line up by weight, and you had to run sprints and do push-ups and board rolls and heel toe knee. Heel toe. Yeah. In high school, I just assessed the situation, and it was like, you need to show up to get accepted, kind of. Yeah, I just dressed like a guy, tried to act like a guy, tried to talk like a guy. I think in like high school programs, it's like you just weren't allowed to laugh at all. You weren't allowed to have fun at all, which is, it's good if you have kids that aren't serious and you need them to be more disciplined. But if you're already very, very disciplined and serious, sometimes you need to scale back and just like enjoy it. My name's not on there. Or the state champs wall. Don't focus on that. Don't look at that. You know what? I missed my last year. That's where all of it was going to happen. I don't want to bring the wrestling off the mat into who I am as a woman. And you know, when I step on the mat, it's like an alter ego. I don't know. It feels like, it's like I imagine like a jaguar in a cage. That's how I feel when I'm wrestling. But I don't feel like that in any other situation. Like, I'm not a fighter. I don't get pissed off. I'm not confrontational. I'm really shy off the mat, but on the mat, it's like, let's go.
Helen was awesome from day one. I first met Helen when she was in 9th grade, when she came to Magruder High School. I knew that she was good, but I didn't know how good. I'm used to working with, you know, the guys in the wrestling room. So here comes this cute little girl who wants to wrestle, and I knew that she was tough, but man, seeing her the first time you look at her, she doesn't look like a wrestler. I didn't have any guys that refused to wrestle with her. I mean, she's tough. If they want to get better, they're looking for the best partner to wrestle with.
Girls on three. 1, 2, 3. Girls!
So my freshman year, I had a really good year. I was the first girl to win a match at the Maryland State Championships, and I also was the first girl to play. So I took 6 at the Maryland State Championships. After that year, my sophomore year, it was all of a sudden, you know, I had a name. Oh, that's Helen.
Nice, nice.
So nobody would wrestle me. And dual meet after dual meet, like the first 10 dual meets in a row, everyone would forfeit.
Yeah, look at that, nice.
You know, I remember some of the guys on my team being like, oh, that's really cool, like your record's really great. And I'm like, I'm not getting better if I'm not wrestling.
Unfortunately, we did run into situations where an opposing coach would not send a wrestler out against Helen.
This is where, you know, support from my coaches was like huge. You know, my high school coaches, you know, they started telling the teams, listen, if you forfeit to her, we're gonna forfeit every single match.
I got into a little bit of a shouting match with a coach because of that. I told him next year I'm gonna bring 14 girls and I'll be assured to win. He didn't really like that response.
Finally, after like the 10th dual meet or something, guys started wrestling me again. My junior year, again, I qualify for state, and then I take 6 again. That summer, I got invited to move to the Olympic Education Center in Northern Michigan. I remember Shannon Gillespie was the coach, and he was like, listen, you have 1 more year. Yeah, you can win a state championship, but you know, you're wrestling guys and wrestling folk style, but Olympics is freestyle and against women, so you should start training now.
What was different, if anything, about training with all girls now?
Everything's different. I think that's when I realized I was more nervous to wrestle girls than it was guys. Hi, Mr. Evans. How are you?
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I know you're good. She really excelled at something against all kinds of odds, and it was her heart and her determination, her resolve through not just wrestling, but this, the stigma of being a girl and being a female wrestler. And every student in this building who wants to do something major can look at this model of excellence and achievement. If you can do that, then you can achieve not just a dream, but to be so successful in life that you can give back to others. Even if she doesn't say a word, her example gives back to other people.
Wow, I'm gonna take your speech.
Well,
Put into words things that was.
Yeah.
Thank you. Everything changed when I started wrestling girls. My style of wrestling changed. I mean, obviously I grew up only wrestling boys, only training with guys, only being coached by men. And so the moves that I hit on guys were just different. When I wrestled guys, it was like I wasn't gonna be able to blast double them, but I could fireman's carry them. Whereas when I moved and I started training with girls, all of a sudden it was like, wait, I can't fireman's these girls because they can like limp out of it, but I can double them. You know, I started developing different moves. I started changing the way that I trained, and I think that like helped. ...2011, I would say, was my breakout year. I'd made the junior world team and I'd made the senior world team. And so junior worlds came first. And so it's the year before the Olympics. And I go to juniors and I just have this, you know, great performance. I beat China, I beat all these girls. So I lose to Japan in the finals. So my 4 years at Junior Worlds, 3 times I lost to Japan. I remember after I went vacationing in Greece that summer, and Victoria Anthony and I, we both wrestled at Junior Worlds, so she came with me and we were talking about wrestling, and I'm like, if I'm, you know, second at Junior Worlds, like how am I ever gonna do well at seniors coming up, and I've got 1 month. And I remember Vicky said something and she's like, Helen, like, you are capable of doing well at seniors. And I'm like, what, really, you think so? She's like, yeah. And so I'm like, okay. I think that was the first time where I was just, no pressure, I'm like, whatever, I'm just gonna go like, I don't know any other term, but like balls to the wall, like 100 miles an hour. I'm just gonna show up. The year before the Olympics, I hear it's the toughest, tournament. It's 55 kilograms. I know this, amazing girl, Yoshida, is at this weight. Oh, now she's on my side of the bracket. Awesome. I go and I end up qualifying the weight for the Olympics, and I'm wrestling for a bronze medal against this Swedish girl named Ida, and she just like front headlocked me or something. Like I got pinned. So I'm like, damn, like this sucks. I had such a great day, I had such a great tournament. And I got pinned by Yoshida too. That was the first time I wrestled her, 2011 Worlds. But I qualified the weight for the Olympics. I'm the #1 girl. I'm like, this is awesome. Going into 2012, I got so much better just from juniors to here. Like, this is great. I'm gonna make the Olympic team. Everything's gonna be good. I remember Marcy Van Dusen. She was a 2008 Olympian, and she's like, listen, the year before the Olympics, everything and everyone changes. She's like, yourself included. She's like, just watch. It's Colorado, the year of the Olympics, is different than any other year. And I'm like, no, it'll be fine. No, it was so different. It was a whole other ball game that I wasn't prepared to handle. And the thing is, I never saw it coming. I think I started wrestling not to lose. You can't operate from a place of fear. And I think I just had so much fear about not wanting to lose that it just paralyzed me. And so I was trying to be positive, but I felt like I knew that I was really lying to myself. I'm not gonna say it hurt me, but it exposed some weaknesses, and it's just different when you're coming in as the underdog to opposed to all of a sudden you're the #1. I just put so much pressure on myself, and I just remember I would come in early to practice and I would stay after, and then I would eat and sleep and breathe wrestling, and I printed out, what the Olympic medal looked like, and I taped it up on my mirror, and I, drew around it. And every day when I woke up and looked in the mirror, that, medal was taped so that it would be like hanging on my neck, and I'm like, and that's what champions do. There was never a time where I thought that I was gonna lose at the trials, but there was also never a time where I was enjoying day in and day out what I was doing. It was like every practice was either, I have to do everything perfect so that I stay consistently good, and if I do anything less than perfect, then that means I'm like going down.
Do you consider yourself a veteran even though you're only 20?
Somewhat. So I mean, I've never been on an Olympic team, I've never experienced that, but there are a lot of things that I have experienced the past couple of years, so I'm just gonna treat it like that and just wrestle my butt off. Olympic trials rolls around, and well, I remember the day before, and I remember Terry saying, we gave this speech, and it's like, I just want you girls to know, you don't need this, you don't need to win, you should want it, but you don't need it. And I remember just being like, this is such a dumb speech, of course, I need to win, I don't get this, I need to win this. I remember writing this note the night before trials to God, and I remember, this is so embarrassing, I'm like, God, if you let me win at the trials, I promise, I am gonna be the best representative for you. I'm gonna do whatever you want. I won't do this. I'll be I know, that I can be a great representative for you if I win trials. And I remember I call my mom and I'm like, oh, I just want to say thanks for everything you've done investing in my wrestling career. I just really appreciate it. And my mom actually said that's when I knew you were gonna lose. She's like, because you never called me before a tournament. I go out there and I lose 2 matches to someone I've never lost to before and haven't lost to since. And I lost to Kelsey Campbell. And I remember sitting in the shower crying that night. I'm crying. I just can't stop crying. It was the most heartbreaking thing ever. I didn't lose because I was having a bad day or because, I had other stuff going on. I lost to Kelsey because Kelsey wrestled better than me and Kelsey earned the spot. And that's that. So, that's wrestling. Terry calls me a week later and he's like, hey, we want to bring the #2s as training partners to London in case something happens, we have our alternates there. And I'm like, absolutely not. I don't want to do this, Terry. I hate wrestling. I'm not wrestling. I'm retiring. This isn't what I want. This doesn't make me happy anymore. I don't want to do this. And he told me this story about Dave Schultz and about how when Dave Schultz lost, right away he turned around and said, well, if I can't win the Olympic gold, I want to make sure he does. And so I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do it. I've grown up my whole life hearing I have talent, hearing I'm so skilled, hearing that I work hard, hearing that I'm coachable. That's it? Like, really? You know, this is where my story ends? I thought I was gonna be like David, or I thought I was gonna be Moses. Like, I thought that I was one of the characters where my name got mentioned. And it was like one of those things I was afraid to ever say out loud, because I'm like, what if I'm the person that can't ever win something? It's easy to sprint, it's hard to run a marathon. When you decide you want to go for the Olympics, you better be all in. Valentine is a wrestling genius. To work with Valentine, you really have to humble yourself. You just heard it's like this legend, like Saori Yoshida. You know, she doesn't lose, Saori Yoshida. Nobody's unbeatable. No one's unbeatable.